Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. And today we're going to be previewing a massive clash between South Africa and Australia in the World Cup. It's a game that a lot of us have been waiting for, and a lot of us have had our eyes on this particular clash from the start of this particular tournament because we knew we needed to get a good start before we face Australia. And the game is being poised in a nice way, I think, currently, because Australia is also coming off a defeat against India in their opening match, where it revealed a lot of Australia's weaknesses. But on the flip side, South Africa had a great start with the bat and showed some signs with the ball that was a little bit worrying, that I'm hoping is going to improve in this particular match. They're playing Lucknow, and it's going to be a clash, a rivalry. It's in the World Cup. There's going to be pressure, so we can expect this particular rivalry to fully show itself out there in the middle. So today we're going to be previewing this match. We're going to be reacting to Quinton de Kock's press conference as well, which is going to be played on this channel. It is busy uploading as well on the YouTube channel for you guys to watch afterwards if you want to have it, give it a second watch. But the first time you'll see it is now live on the show with me. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. What I also like you guys to please do is download the latest issue and subscribe to the Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. And currently, this is the front cover of the latest issue. It is all about the World Cup, prepping for the World Cup, coaches' views, players' views, fans' views into this World Cup. And the content is still very relevant, I think, even throughout this tournament. That's how we try to do our issues, is that it is still relevant throughout the month so that you guys can get still insight while the tournament is on. If you want to support us and what we are doing here at Cricket Fanatics Magazine, then please become a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. That's how you keep these shows going. We do it with your help. So please get involved with the Patreon account. I'd also like you guys to please smash the like button, comment, and share, and go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to discussing this with you guys. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host Khalid Moeddin, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South Africa versus Australia in the World Cup. Now, it's South Africa's second game, it's Australia's second game, and it is really setting itself up for an amazing clash, I'm hoping. We're going to be going through the various comments, Pat Cummins, also Quinton de Kock, as well as we're going to look at some of the stats between South Africa and Australia. And there's a lot for us to discuss about the Lucknow pitch and what is going to be happening there too. But I think let's start with Quinton de Kock's press conference and react to this, because I think that is the most relevant and it's probably the best place to start, because it will give us insight into tomorrow's game firsthand from a player in the dressing room. And generally speaking, Quinton de Kock's press conferences can be quite entertaining. So let's start with that.
For joining us for today's pre-match press conference ahead of South Africa's clash against Australia here in Lucknow. Joining us today, we of course do have Quinton de Kock. We will take one question at a time. Who would like to start us off?
Hi.
Guys can see, Quinny loves these type of situations.
Welcome to Lucknow again. Quinton, you are a familiar with this ground. Any change in the spinner against Australia?
Sorry, I didn't hear you there.
You are familiar with this Ikana ground because you are in LSJ. Any change in the spinner against Australia?
Yeah, we're still having a look at the wicket. It's been relayed, so we're still having a chat what we're going to do about it, but we'll see.
How's it, Connie? Connie,
So that's some insight that we need to give you guys about that. The pitch has been relayed, so that is something that is new from us, from the grounds perspective, because a lot of us don't know what the wicket's going to do. When Quinton de Kock was asked that, as you can hear there, I mean, he is familiar with the wicket because of his IPL days and having played there as well last year. I mean, 2022, yes, they played there last year as well, the Proteas. The wicket apparently has been relayed. From my understanding, I think that the pitch there were some issues with the pitch with regards to whether it is whether it's a pitch that is worthwhile competitive cricket. Because after the IPL, it was dug up, and they also followed it also followed the sacking of the curator at the ground as well. After a low-scoring match between India versus New Zealand in January in a T20I match. So, and there's only been 4 ODIs here, like I have explained in yesterday's press conferences, yesterday's video as well. And it hasn't really been very high-scoring games. So the highest score was actually 253 on the ground, and it was medium paces and spin that were really successful in those games. But Pat Cummins spoke about it maybe having a little bit of pace and bounce after he took a look at the pitch. So we will get into his comments a little bit later and what he had to say in in his pre-match press conference. But we do know that the pitch has been relayed, so it might not be exactly the same as what we thought it would be initially.
already people are talking about South Africa's top 6 as the most informed top 6 of the tournament. You know, you've played in a lot of top 6s over the years. How does this one feel different, if at all, and how does the form feel different?
Yeah, I think we're doing really well as a batting unit. We've worked really hard in our game the last couple of years. It's only one game into the World Cup, so it's hard to say how we're really going. Even though we batted really well our last couple of games, but it hasn't been over a course of years. It's only been a course over a month or a couple of months. So yeah, I think in order for us to be one of the best, we need to still be a bit more consistent, especially in tight games like World Cups. And yeah, that will determine actually how good we are.
Quinny,
I like that answer because from my perspective over here, he's 100% correct. Consistency has been a problem with South Africa and with particularly the batters. And I like that he's owned up to that and said that. And over the years, in general, there hasn't been consistency. There was always one hero that would step up and save the day for the Proteas. Now they're batting, truly look like they're batting like a unit. At least the last couple of games that we've seen against England, against Australia now, in this opening game against Sri Lanka, we're looking a lot more like a unit. So I think that is what I like about this from that perspective.
you've just spoken about the top 6, but obviously you guys have Marco coming in at 7. There's been a bit of a debate about, people wondering if he's a good enough batsman at this stage to bat at number 7, or if he's not a better number 8. And JP Dumini's also said, you guys have a lot of confidence in him. What's your thoughts on Marco, where he's at with his batting at the moment?
I think he's doing really well. For a guy at his age, he's got a lot of experience ahead of him in the batting department to help guide him. So he's doing really well I think he's very talented. He's a big hitter of the ball, plays spin really well, and he's looking to improve every time. So, I think just give him a chance. He is still a youngster. It's not like the rest of us who are all probably above the age of 30. So let him just grow in his ways and in his position. I'm sure he'll be a great all-rounder for us one day.
Quinton, every time you play for South Africa, it's a special occasion, obviously, but a game against Australia in the World Cup seems to be bigger than most. Would you agree, for South Africans?
I think it's just because you're playing against such a strong team. I don't think it's any different from playing Australia to any other team because it's a World Cup. Can't take any games for granted, and because Australians and us have always had a great history, a good competitive background. So yeah, I think that's just what it is. I think both teams are going to come out fighting tomorrow, and whoever makes the right choices under the pressure will be the stronger team at the end of the day.
Quinton, having watched Australia's struggles against the three Indian spinners on Sunday, knowing this surface, having played here once for South Africa and then once for Lucknow, do you think you'd be tempted to bring in Shamsi to try and make the most of Australia's sort of struggles against spin in that middle over period?
Yeah, I think obviously it's been a thought in what the selectors are thinking. But in saying that, I've also seen those same guys who struggled in the Australian team also destroy spinners in the IPL and stuff. I think that was a spinning friendly wicket in Chennai. So I think naturally, most other teams who are not from Sakana could have struggled. Because obviously the Indians have got really good spin bowling attack. I've played against a lot of these guys like Warner, Smith, Marnus, Maxi. These guys really play spin really well in general. I think it was just that one game. That's the way I see it. Especially here in Lucknow. I don't know what wicket we're going to get. I was here during the IPL, and the wickets, we got different varieties of wicket and play one certain way. So it could come out and it could be a seam-friendly wicket opposed to a spin-friendly wicket. So, I'm pretty sure the thought of process of bringing in the second spinner is in, but we'll see tomorrow.
So it's all going to be about that. It's all going to be about what the wicket is going to be like. There's a lot of uncertainty around this wicket at the moment. I've seen a lot of uncertainty about it on how it's going to play. As Quinny said, that in the past as well, even when he played there in the IPL, they got different wickets. So I don't think we should read too much into the defeat with regards to Australia versus India. I mean, Australia knows how to play under pressure. They've done World Cups over and over again and performed. So I think we need to focus on making the right decisions on the morning when we see the wicket, when we see the conditions, pick the team that we think is going to be the best for that, and then go in there and leave everything out on the field. We want the South African team. I think the South African team, if they play with that mentality every single game, where they try and be ruthless and dominant and just play their natural games, we will be okay. Our record against Australia over the last 10 years in ODIs is phenomenal. We've played 28 matches, we've won 18, we've only lost 9, and we've had one no result. So South Africa's had a very good record over the last 10 years in ODIs against Australia. And I think that in this particular World Cup, I think we stand a very good chance against them again. But we do need to keep our focus. We do need to keep our concentration levels up, and we do need to be consistent. We've heard that word consistency now from Quinton. We've heard that word from Eric Simons in his pre-match press conference before Sri Lanka. We've heard it from Rob, and now and we also heard it from JP Dumini yesterday. So consistency is going to be key. Sticking to the basics still, I think, is very important. South Africa needs to just play their game and focus on one piece at a time and not try to overthink everything.
Quinton, just going back to your earlier answer about Australia and South Africa, can you just elaborate a little more about how different the South African rivalry is with Australia, say, compared to your rivalry with England or India or some of these other teams?
Well, I'm not too sure. I think it's just the just a big rivalry. I think it's just international cricket. It's just the way it is. Both teams are strong teams. You know, both got big egos. Both want to want to beat each other. So I think that's what it just comes down to. You know, whoever comes out, like I said earlier, whoever comes out and makes the best decisions in the bigger pressure situation will probably be the winner at the end of the day.
Sorry, if I could just ask one more, Quinton. And just about Australia's bowling attack, I mean, you look at Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, maybe in Test cricket, you know, they're up there with the best in the world. But just in one-day cricket, how do you judge that bowling attack? Just the three of them, Adam Zampa, Maxwell, they're saying is a specialist spinner, and a bunch of all-rounders.
I think they're a really good bowling attack. I think they're well balanced. You know, obviously you got Stark, who's a left arm, and he swings it a lot up front. Bowls really good Yorkers towards the end. Got a guy like Hazelwood and Pat Cummins who don't really give you bad balls. Got seriously good bouncers, and then you got obviously Cam Green now coming in, who adds more balance to their seam bowling attack, and he also bowls at 140 plus. Then Maxi, I think a lot of guys underrate him. I think he's a really good offie, especially in the white ball format. He keeps it very tight. I think teams underestimate him. I think that's why he does really well, because I think he knows he's a good spinner. I think other guys don't give him the respect he deserves. But that's what I've seen and watched over the years.
Guys, is it just me? Or is this a different Quinton de Kock that we're listening to here? He seems switched on. He's focused. His answers are brilliant, in depth, honest. He seems focused, 100% focused. This is not what I'm used to with Quinny. Generally speaking, in press conferences, he always comes across as nervous or unfazed or uninterested. This is a different type of Quinton de Kock, and I'm loving it at the moment. And his answers have been brilliant and honest, and he's 100% correct. I hope that the rest of the batting attack and the rest of the players are not underestimating certain players. We need to there needs to be a level of respect, but we also need to play the ball on merit. I think if we can drown a little bit out who's bowling and and rather look at the ball that is being delivered and play it on merit. I think that's the most important thing. But Quinny seems switched on, really does, and I'm happy that we have this Quinton de Kock for one last time in a World Cup. Hopefully, it can be it can be rewarding for us all. As you can see, I don't want to get there to myself.
Quinny, just a step back, how chuffed and emotional were you to actually finally get that elusive World Cup ton in Delhi? And obviously, a good start was imperative for all of you guys, but was it almost like a bonus that three of your guys actually start this tournament with hundreds actually behind your name, you know, just in terms of confidence going forward?
Yeah, I think it was big. Wasn't just a World Cup. I think I've been wanting 100 for a while. Just on my personal self, I think it's been a while. I've been getting off to a lot of starts, and then obviously not capitalizing, and just to get one into my name was pretty nice. And the rest of us, I think the rest of the guys have been scoring a lot of big runs anyway. I think just to tick it off in a World Cup and get the campaign started was a big thing for the guys' confidence. Obviously, we know that it's big pressures, yeah. And sometimes you come into a tournament and you're not quite too sure how you're going to go. You know, you're trying to find your feet, and just to come up and first game, some of the guys found their feet. You know, it was really nice.
Quinny, since 2016, you guys have played Australia in 20 ODIs and won 15 of them. Why do you think you have had such great success against them?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. Not too sure. I think we've just played really good cricket. I've been part of all of those series, and to be honest, I think just a lot of guys have just stepped up at the right time, and we've just been on the right side of it. I'm honestly not too sure, because Australia are a really good cricketing team. They're going to make it really difficult for anybody who plays against them. So yeah, I can't put my thumb on it.
Quinton, well batted last week or a few days ago. Having made that decision to have this tournament be your last, do you think that helped you with that performance against Sri Lanka? Has it freed you up mentally and maybe now everything's a bit of a bonus, perhaps?
No, not really. I think I'm pretty much the same, whether retired or not retired. It's just a matter of working on one or two things and just going out there and just getting it done. I don't know, it just happened, I guess. Just been working on one or two things now in Australian series and now here in our preparations here, and just to get it done out there, I think just helped.
Connie, just to follow from that, you've obviously announced your decision to retire from this format. But what do you think about the future of one-day cricket? Is it still an interesting format to play, or does it have some challenges?
I'm sure still a lot of guys love the format. I'm not going to speak on behalf of everyone. For myself, it's been doing it for a couple of years now. Obviously, I found it quite tiring. It's been a long time for myself. But I'm sure there's still a lot of youngsters coming through the ranks, guys still at school growing up, they still would love to play this format. And I highly recommend that they find a way to keep it going, because there's a lot of guys with big ambitions who want this format to carry on going, which I think they need to find a place and a time for it to happen.
Yeah. I enjoyed that presser actually from Quinny. It was a very different one than we used to. Yeah, Lawrence saying in the comments, this is the first time I've seen Quinny talk this much. He doesn't even talk this much on the field. Nice, well-rounded question, says Ahmed. Lawrence saying he's prepared mentally and physically. So yeah, a lot of good comments over here. Azim saying Quinton shaved. Yeah, he's really looking good, and as well out in the middle, he's really looking fresh. He's looking healthy, and I'm really happy for him. I mean, I wish he played this format longer. I think he still has a couple of years in him. I would have liked to see him play longer, but I fully respect his decision. He's given a hell of a lot to South Africa from a young age. So I respect his decision. Whenever he feels that time is right, he deserves that decision and that choice. He's given a lot to South African cricket, and through the good times and the bad times, he's always actually went out, even when he wasn't happy, he went out and tried to play his the best that he can. So yes, he's been up and down in not over the last couple of years, not finding his rhythm. He admitted to it himself, saying that he was getting good starts and not converting. But this Quinton de Kock, I mean, he's looking extremely, like Waka says here, extremely relaxed and confident. So I'm very happy about that. So that was what Quinny had to say. I think that what I would like to do maybe is just mention some things that some stats that I found on ESPN Cricinfo about tomorrow's game. It's David Warner became the quickest player to 1,000 World Cup runs, reaching the mark in 19th innings. In his 19th innings against India, he needs just 53 runs to go past Adam Gilchrist, the second all-time Australia's list of World Cup scorers behind Ricky Ponting. Then Adam Zampa has gone wicketless in 4 of his 10 ODIs this year, and has only 5 wickets in 5 ODI World Cup matches in his career at an economy rate of 7. That's another interesting stat. South Africa's middle order has the highest average of 44.6 and a run rate of 6.4 over the last 4 years in ODIs. Australia's middle order averaged 29.9 at a run rate of 5.40 over the same period. But South Africa's power play bowling is the worst in the world this year, averaging 43 with an economy rate of 6.6 in ODIs in the first 10 overs of their bowling innings. Australia's power play bowlers averages 40.7 but have an economy rate of 5.4. So that's something that we can look into. We've spoken about our batters really needing to step up, and our bowlers our bowlers needing to step up and to be more consistent. That is something that we need to have. Kani says, I respect Miller for continuously playing for the Proteas, even at his age, when he has an option to earn more money in other leagues. He'll still earn those money in that leagues, but yeah, I do respect him for that. What is our plan against Smith and Warner? How would you bowl and set the field for them? With Smith and it's tough. They world class. They're world class batters. The way you do it is I think is to cramp their room. Don't give them don't try to not make them play their favorite shots. And what the main thing for them is they both like to play with their legs. They're strong with their legs as well. So I think don't give too many balls away. Easy runs. Don't give them easy runs. Make them rather try to push for singles, etc. And don't allow them any freebies early on in the power play to get their confidence going. You need to bog them down. You need to be on the money. So the thing is, like that stat that I read a little bit earlier, that we have the worst bowling average in the power play in the world at the moment. We need to improve that against Australia. We can't give them any freebies up front. Don is currently on 82. Not that looks like Titans are going to win, says Kani. I want to know how is the Cock going to deal with cramps tomorrow. I think he'll be all right. The fact that he didn't keep in the last match, I think it would have helped him with a full rest. So I'm happy with that. Nazim says, I hope we win the toss and bat first. Let me just get into let me just read out some of the comments from Pat Cummins and what he had to say so that we can also get an understanding of what the opposition is thinking. I'm going to pull up the press conference questions as well. You see, Kanye, I can't really answer this question right now because we don't know what the wicket's going to be like. South Africa generally plays better when we bat first. So I think the best we play our best cricket when we put a massive total on the board, and I think we can do that against Australia if we keep our focus and we remain confident and stick to the basics. That's going to be something that we need to do. So let's just see what some of the reporters asked Pat Cummins today and see what he had to say about South Africa, because I think it will be some nice insight from our perspective. So after seeing the wicket revealed in the press conference that expects a high scoring game in Lucknow against South Africa. So that is my intro. So the reporter asked, it is familiar ground for Stoinis, and also we saw him practicing last evening. So will he be in the squad for tomorrow's match? He's fit, so yeah, we'll announce a team tomorrow, but it's a ground he knows pretty well. I think chatting to him and a couple of the guys, it's probably in a bit of a different condition to what it is in the IPL. The wicket looks really good, so yeah, he's someone we'll look at pretty closely. How is the mood of the team right now after losing the first match, and what are your plans for this match? Disappointed after the first match? Yeah, we weren't at our best, so yeah, everyone's pretty driven the last few days. Everyone's trained really well, and yeah, I'm ready to go for this one. And they're always up for South Africa. This is going to be if everything goes to plan, and I hope this is the type of match where both teams are playing their best cricket, because then we're going to really see an amazing game. I hope that one team is not. I hope that it's not we have one team not firing and the other team firing. And if that is the case, then I obviously want South Africa to be the one fighting. But I would, for as a neutral fan, you would like to see both teams go at it and fight as hard as they can to try and win the match, and then come up with a specific. Sorry, guys, like this, working on my nose. I think we want both teams to come out firing, and then we have an amazing cricket match to actually to watch. What is your experience and opinion about this ground, about this pitch, and what will you do? Have you seen the pitch, and what will you do if you win the toss? Anything decided? Beckham says, I don't know. We'll judge tomorrow for the toss, but it is a beautiful stadium. I thought I had been here, but I don't think I have. Beautiful ground. The wicket looks really good. I haven't had a look at it today, but last night looked really good, really even. So maybe a bit of pace and bounce. Yeah, so we'll see how it is tomorrow. So obviously, Quinton de Kock also saying that the pitch has been relayed. So that is this more confirmation about that, of course. Um, will it be a high scoring match? Cummins is potentially, yeah, it looks like. When it when it's a good wicket, which that looks like, most of the games have been 300 plus. How's Adam Zampa tracking? I understand the ball was pretty hard to grip for the wrist spinner in the other night, but was there still some sort of lingering soreness there from those neck and shoulder issues he's had in the past? I don't know, to be honest. I think he was okay. Yeah, his prep leading in was probably a bit lighter than he would normally have, but yeah, I wouldn't look too far into the last game. I thought he bowled okay, but it's pretty hard defending 200 and trying to create something out of nothing. So I'm sure he'd be great out there. Again, if you have a bit more of a total to bowl to, he's one of our key guys. Just on that front, Pat, given how difficult it was for the spinners to control the ball with the dew the other night, are you going to be inclined going forward to bowl first if you do win the toss? I think it's a different at every venue. So yeah, it's whatever a few thousand kilometers away from Chennai, it's a bit different. Probably have another look tonight to see if there's dew, but it doesn't seem like there's as much dew at this ground. But yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion on the dew in one day cricket. Some games the ball gets heavy and it's actually better to bowl at night. In other games, it gets too slippery, that's hard to grip onto. So it's a bit different to do the T20 cricket, he says. Then he went to say, you spoke prior to the first game about the middle overs, how crucial they are in one day cricket, and generally teams that take the most wickets in the middle overs, 11 to 40, go for far in this tournament. It's a bit of a worry, with the sort of struggles that Australia's had of a late losing wickets in those middle overs. Can you take us inside the conversations to try and resurrect that going forward? Yeah, it's no secret that the period of the game seems to be the most important in one day cricket. And it's the same for our bowling group. We've got to try and find ways to create wickets. It's tough sometimes to force something in the middle if there is a partnership on. So that's been much of the same for the batters. How do we create partnerships? If they're bowling well, how do we shift the pressure back onto their bowlers and try and force their hand to make some changes? But I think it's a real delicate balance in one day cricket of not taking huge risks. But it's not like Test cricket where you can wait it out. You have to keep the runs ticking over, the run rate ticking over, which is 100% true. And that's something that I want South Africa to adapt to into their game as well. Because when there's no runs on hand, try to run the ones, try to run the twos, put the pressure back on the bowlers again, make them, and especially with our left hand, right hand combinations that we have within our team, we can really start putting pressure and unsettling bowlers early on. So that's something that I think we need to do throughout this match. There's always talk about our rivalry with England and India, and I think a lot gets written about it. But just how different is the rivalry with South Africa? You played quite a bit against them, just on the ground and just overall. Yeah, it's another team that I feel like we play quite a lot against, which creates a bit of a rivalry. I also always find with South Africa, we always match up quite similarly. They've always got some fast bowlers and some batters that take the game on, maybe a leg spinner. So it always feels like it's a clash of two very similar teams. So, yeah, no doubt it will be another great game tomorrow. And I'm hoping that it will be. And it's quite true. South Africa, there's a lot of similarities. And also the conditions in Australia compared to South Africa, there is a lot of similarities between certain grounds and certain wickets. So, yeah, this has always been a rivalry. We saw how everything unfolded with the ball tampering. I think the rivalry is much bigger than what the players are trying to let what the players are trying to show us in public. But I think this is going to be a fierce battle between the two sides. There's a lot of history between them, good and bad. A lot of the guys from 2019 are still here and part of the squad. A lot of them, like yourself, have become fathers and your families are coming down. Some of those families are already here. How different is it in terms of having a different perspective to cricket itself, to life itself? and just walking around the team lobby and the dressing room as compared to, say, 4 years ago. Yeah, it's quite different. Everyone's 4 years older. Even the ones that haven't had kids are now playing the second World Cup. You also throw a couple of T20 World Cups in there in between as well, so it feels a bit more, I guess, settled. Everyone feels like they know what they need to do. I think you're seeing a lot more people come train, put evening train into everything into training, but once they go away, they actually get away from cricket a bit more and spend time with their families. Yeah, so I'd say it feels a bit more well balanced. I don't think the actual cricket side of things has changed that much, but outside of that, I think it's in a really good place. Um, this may be a question further down the track, but maybe you're also thinking about it tomorrow. How will your rotation of quick bowlers work through the tournament? And even for yourself personally, how do you see yourself rotating around that? I mean, the intention is to try and play every game. We won't be rotating bowlers really unless we have to. Someone's really fatigued or someone's managing a niggle that needs a bit of a rest. So, yeah, the intention is to try and have everyone on the selection table for each game. You pick your best 11, but it's a World Cup. You can't really take any game lightly. So, probably later on in the tournament, we'll look at that if we need to. But at the moment, there's no plans. And that's something South Africa also need to think about. Um, some of these players are fresh, coming off uh, of injuries, etc., and working their way back into the team, or long layoffs where they haven't played for a while. So we're going to have to manage our fitness levels as well, and it's going to be interesting to see how we manage that. Have you got an update on Travis Head for us? George Bailey mentioned there was another check-in point around the 11th or 12th of October. Yeah, no updates. I think it's tomorrow. He's getting a scan and seeing the surgeon to get an update. So hopefully next couple of days. About your own one-day bowling, it's a format that you don't get to play regularly. What has what has the adjustment been like? I know you played a few this year, but between 2020 and now, you haven't got the chance to do that. And where do you think your one-day bowling is right now? I'm really happy where it is. I feel like it's in a good place, as it ever has been. I think early in my career, I found it hard to balance between Test cricket and T20, like getting too funky. I always find with one day cricket, your roles can be very different. Being an opening bowler with a ball that swings is very different to coming on a first change. Maybe bowling across seamers when you're trying to almost defend and you get your wickets through pressure. So it's different kind of challenge to the other formats. But yeah, I feel in a really good place and I enjoy the challenge of having to almost be prepared for anything in terms of death bowling or just basics or trying to create a wicket out of nothing. So you're pretty happy. Um, then there's a lot of talk around the one day cricket and the context of it. But that you've mentioned, there is that it requires a slightly different approach and skill to test or T20s. What kind of unique challenge does it present to you? Do you still feel it's a challenge you're interested in as a bowler to like develop a one day game side of things? I think it's the biggest challenge is you've got 10 overs. It's actually quite a physical format. I find it probably the most physically taxing if you're playing 2 or 3 games in a week. We're doing 15 kilometers in a 50 over match. I think in T20, if you bowl one really good over, that can be match winning. I think in one day cricket, that's not normally the case. And it is rare that the conditions are really in the bowler's favor, which is fine. It's just a challenge you've got to try and deal with. So yeah, it's a tough, but I enjoy it. Yeah, one day cricket is an incredible challenge. And like he said there, and I agree with him 100% with what he said over there. How do you take it as a captain of the side for 2 or 3 times? What are the challenges? I mean, first of all, it's a great legacy, so I feel really lucky to be in that position. Every World Cup is different. It's a different bunch of boys out there. So yeah, it's great. I enjoy it. We're all in it together. The 15 of us. This the 15 of us are obviously desperate to win, so I feel lucky to be in charge. So generic answer over there from him with regards to that. So nothing really major coming out of that. But at least we know that they also feel that this is a massive rivalry as well. Let me get to some of your live chats and see what you guys have had to say while I was reading that up. I hope we win the toss and bat first, says Nazim. If we bat first, we should post a 350 plus. Will Scotia be dropped or Ngidi if they bring in Shamsi? Um, I think it would be Coetzee that probably would give way because of Lungi's experience, to be honest with you. By putting all 6 balls in the correct areas, if a batter wants to take you on, it's a risk they're taking by going after you, your good deliveries. If it comes off, fair play, but generally you in the game. Dolphins, and I know the Dolphins and Titans are playing. I'm not talking one day cup right now because of the massive game we have tomorrow from a Proteus perspective. But Temba told the pitch played better under lights at Delhi. Australia will come hard at us after losing the first match. And that's the one thing that we need to be aware of. I don't think anybody is going to look at that India game and think, you know what, we can get at Australia now. I think most people will probably sit here and say, this is a wounded Aussies, and that's when they're most dangerous. So we need to be on our A game tomorrow. I'm just worried about Timber facing off against Stark. That is a concern. The movement up front, etc., from the get-go. I'm hoping that they switched on and ready for it. It looks like Timber is expecting KG to fill the boots of Nokia. I just want to see a good old KG bowling at 150 kilometers per hour rather than those 135 kilometer deliveries we see nowadays. Yeah, he's lost a hell of a lot of pace, and it's. I've spoken to some experts about their opinions on it, and they also can't necessarily put their finger on why. So I thought he would get faster by this age and start hitting his I thought he would get faster, but he isn't. Alga and Ferreira are going smoothly in the match happening now between the Titans and Dolphins. Thank you, Ahmed. KG needs to bowl against Australia with confidence, stood up front and bowling lead. I think he will be up for it. After he took that wicket in the match against Sri Lanka, he was really fired up, and I want to see a fired up KG. I don't want him to worry about ICC sanctions and bans and all of that stuff. I think he needs to just play with the fire that we know he can. And I think he really will be up for it against Australia. He's always up for it against Australia. That's the team that he always seems to bring his best performances against. I just want Temba to see off that new ball spell of Stark. Yeah, that's the thing. We need to try and do that. We need to bat smartly as well. England, India, and Australia play each other more often. We don't have the same schedule. Hats off to Don, what 100 under pressure, says Kani. Let's go Proteas for tomorrow's match. Don and Stubbs are bossing One Day Cup. Yep, I know. Yes, it's different, Quinton de Kock, since he announced his retirement. He seems to have been invested mentally 100%, 100% GB. That's something that I've really picked up and noticed. Even when the new coaches came in, actually, I saw a change already, even in training. So there's been he just looks different. He just looks more up. He just looks happier. Quinton has really matured the past 2 years. I wish we could have him in the test side now. I think he's only ready for that now, says JB. Harley, do you know that if the Proteas are taking local Indian spinners in the nets to help themselves prepare better, a lot of the teams do stuff like this. We saw it in the training videos. The first training video that we posted, it seemed that way. When I looked at the net sessions, it did seem that way, that there was some spinners, Indian spinners, bowling in the nets to them. So I think there are. Thought it might help batting second, but it will also help seamers early in the evening. Can't face Stark in the evening, but bat first and put score on the board. Burton says we can never underestimate the Aussies. They know how to bounce back, but I believe in the boys. They can pull it through. And I agree. We need to leave everything on that field and come out with 100% intensity. And I'll be happy with the boys if we put on a fighting performance and we play our best cricket, and then if we lose, it can be accepted. I don't want to see shoulders dropping, or if something doesn't go their way, that they don't try and bounce back. I want to see a performance full of passion, full of desire, and I want them to just go out there and leave everything out in the middle. That's all we can ask for. We know Australia's going to come hard at us after that particular loss, and we need to be up for the challenge. And I think we are. Our record against Australia is really good in ODIs, like I said, over the last 10 years. And I think this is going to be an excellent game, and I'm really excited to see what will happen. Let's see. I'm hoping that South Africa wins this match, of course. We need to play with 100%, 100% intensity. That's something that I really hope would happen. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, as well as subscribe and get us to that 5,000 subscriber mark. Please click that notification bell for all future video. We're working on our next milestone now. Also, subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. To support us and what we do here at Cricket Fanatics, become a patron today. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Smash the like button, comment, and share. And go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. I'll see you guys again tomorrow after the game. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Good luck, Proteas. And good luck to all of us out there that want to see South Africa beat the Aussies. I hope that we can remain focused, bring the intensity, and make everybody proud. That's all we can ask for. Cheers, everyone, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.